This is the Bio Bidet BB1200 Elongated Smart Bidet. If you're thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience using it day to day. What felt good, what felt a little annoying, and what you should know before you commit to having an electric bidet seat on your toilet. At a basic level, it's a replacement toilet seat with a built-in sprayer, warm water, a heated seat, and a warm air dryer. It's for someone who wants to feel cleaner than toilet paper alone can manage. And it's also for anyone who cares about comfort, especially if you live somewhere cold or you just hate sitting down on a freezing seat at night. I also think it makes sense if bending, twisting, or wiping is difficult, because once it's installed, the whole routine takes less effort. What made this one stand out for me is that it gives you 3 ways to control it. There's a remote, there are buttons on the side of the seat for basics, and there's an app. In real life, that matters because the remote is what I reach for most of the time. The side buttons are what I end up using when the remote isn't where it should be. And the app is what I use when I want to set things up once and stop thinking about it. The first thing I noticed when I put it on the toilet is how it changes the shape of the seat. This is the elongated version, and it fit my elongated bowl the way it should. But the back portion is thicker because that's where the electronics and water heating are. When you sit down, your position feels slightly pushed forward compared to a normal seat. It didn't bother me after a couple days, but it's something I noticed immediately. And if you're taller or broader, you might notice the opening feels a bit smaller than a basic seat. Build-wise, it's mostly plastic, and the nozzle is stainless steel. That nozzle choice matters more than it sounds. I've used seats with plastic wands before, and they can discolor over time, and they just don't feel as clean. Here, the metal wand feels more reassuring, and it's easier to wipe down when I run the manual cleaning function and the wand extends. The seat and lid close slowly, which I didn't think I'd care about, but it does make the bathroom feel quieter, and it also means you're not stressing the hinges. There's also a small nightlight. I expected it to be a gimmick, but I've ended up appreciating it because it's just enough light to aim without turning on the full bathroom lights. Setup was realistic as a DIY job. I didn't need a plumber. I shut off the water, installed the included T-valve at the tank, connected the hose to the seat, and mounted the plate. The part that decides whether this is easy or frustrating is your outlet situation. You need power near the toilet. In my bathroom, I had an outlet close enough, but not perfectly placed, so cable routing took a little thought. If you don't have a GFCI outlet near the toilet, you're either calling an electrician or you're not using the features you're buying this for. Once it was installed, daily use was pretty straightforward. The seat sensor is doing more work than most people realize. It won't spray unless it detects you seated, which prevents accidental sprays when you're cleaning or when someone hits the wrong button. That one detail saves a lot of hassle. For the actual wash, I tested the rear wash, the front wash, and a stronger option that's meant to be more direct. Water temperature stability is one of the main reasons I prefer this style over older tank-style seats. The warm water stays warm through the cycle. I didn't get that starts warm, then turns cold experience that you can get with a small reservoir. Water pressure is where I have mixed feelings. It's adjustable, and at the higher settings, it's enough for me to feel clean. But if you're the kind of person who likes a very forceful spray, this may feel gentler than you expect. It cleans, but the way it cleans is more about steady spray and coverage than brute force. I found that using the oscillation feature helped a lot, because it moves the stream back and forth so you're not relying on one spot to do all the work. Nozzle position adjustment is also important in real use. I didn't think I'd touch it much, and then I realized I adjust it all the time, depending on how I'm sitting. Being able to dial that in means fewer misses where you're getting sprayed, but not quite where you want. The dryer works with the usual caveat. If you want fully dry, it takes time. If I'm in a rush, I still end up using a small amount of toilet paper just to finish faster. If I'm at home and not in a hurry, I can let it run, and it does reduce paper use. The air is warm, not hot, and it's comfortable, but it's not instant. Noise levels are reasonable. You hear the water and the internal movement, but it doesn't sound harsh. It's the kind of sound that fades into the background after a week. Cleaning and maintenance are also part of living with it. The nozzle rinses itself before and after use, which helps, but I still like to manually clean the wand occasionally. The quick-release design makes it easier to remove the whole seat so you can clean the toilet underneath. That matters because any bidet seat adds more surfaces and edges than a plain seat, and you don't want grime building up around the mounting area. I also check the little filter screen after a bit of use. If your water has sediment, you'll want to clean that occasionally because it can affect flow. Now the smart part, the app. I went into this expecting to ignore it, but I actually found it useful for setting up presets. The remote works, but it doesn't always communicate settings in a clear way, especially when you're trying to remember which temperature level you're on. The app makes it obvious. I created a couple routines I actually use, like a shorter wash with medium temperature, and a longer wash with oscillation and a longer dry. After that, I stopped fiddling with individual settings and just hit the preset. That said, I don't think the app is something you'll want to open every day. For me, it's more of a setup tool. Once it's dialed in, the remote is faster. I also had a moment where the connection didn't immediately behave the way I expected, and I had to retry pairing. It wasn't a disaster, but it reminded me that anything involving a phone app can occasionally add friction instead of removing it. Over a longer stretch of use, the features that actually changed my routine were the heated seat, consistent warm water, and the nightlight. The heated seat is one of those things you stop thinking about until you use a regular toilet and realize how much you got used to it. The warm water consistency makes the whole experience feel predictable. And the nightlight, surprisingly, got used every single day. The limitations are also real. You need power nearby, and that alone will eliminate some bathrooms. The seat shape can feel a bit smaller because of the rear housing. The dryer is helpful, but not fast. The spray strength is fine for me, but if you're coming from a model known for very aggressive pressure, you might feel like this one is holding back. Overall, after using it like a normal person and not treating it like a gadget, I think it works best for someone who wants a cleaner routine with less effort and who values comfort features that you notice every day. I don't think you need the app to enjoy it, but I do think the app makes the initial setup and personalization easier, and presets are convenient if more than one person is using the same bathroom. I will share detailed information about the Bio Bidet BB1200 Elongated Smart Bidet in the comments section, everyone.